And according to our scriptures and acharyas, Radharani would sit on a throne with Krishna called the Ratna Singhasan. And there are limitless beautiful pastimes that they would exchange sitting on that throne together. But one wonderful pastime is written in the Srimad Bhagavatam that took place there at that Ratna Singhasan. It was the full moon night of the Phalgun month when we celebrate Holi. We know that Hiranyakashipu's sister, Prahlad's aunt, Hiranyakashipu was trying to do everything to kill his little son. Prahlad is only 5 years old. He didn't have any training in martial arts. He didn't have any weapons. He didn't have anybody to protect him. He was just all alone. And Hiranyakashipu, one movement of his eyebrows, and all the demigods in the heavens, who were all his slaves, he controlled the universe up to Swargaloka. He had massive armies. He had inconceivable powers. And little Prahlad never fought back. He just was always remembering Krishna. And Krishna was always there to protect him. So one of the ways Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him is for his sister to hold Prahlad in a blazing fire till he burned to death. Because she had a benediction that she could not be burned by fire. And the fire was burning, 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 burning. And Prahlad was just Hare Krishna, sitting there remembering Krishna. And ultimately, it was too much. His aunt burned to death. And little Prahlad just walked out, fearless. He was just happy with Krishna. So this is Holi. And it's celebrated in Vrindavan in so many beautiful ways with colors. Radharani has her side, Krishna has her side, and they have a battle of love, of offering sweets, and offering flowers, and offering beautiful natural coloring flowers. It's all expressions of love. But on this particular full moon night, Krishna and Balaram were with gopis. And there, at Shamkutir, Krishna and Balaram, they were intoxicated with love for their devotees. And the devotees were intoxicated with love for them. And the whole forest of Giriraj, Govardhan, was intoxicated with the love for Krishna Balaram, Radharani and Krishna. And wonderful flowers were blooming, very, very gentle, cool breezes were blowing. The birds were singing the most wonderful songs. And Krishna and Balaram were so inspired. For the pleasure of gopis, they sang together. How did they sing together? This is inconceivable. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. Yes? How many can you say at once with your voice? Krishna and Balaram were singing every single note of every single scale simultaneously. And it sounded absolutely beautiful. The most beautiful sound you can imagine. When Krishna plays his flute, the love of his heart flows from his heart through the holes of his flute to make that music. Similarly, when Krishna sings for the pleasure of his devotees, Krishna and Balaram, they were intoxicated by their own singing. It was so sweet. Literally, all the notes of all the scales of all the ragas were simultaneously like nectar pouring from their mouths. And the gopis were so happy. They were dancing together. At that time, an assistant of Kuvera, who had a very beautiful body, who was extremely wealthy. He was one of the treasurers of the heavenly planets. He was extremely powerful. And he had the most precious, exquisite jewel that he wore on his head. His name was Shankachuda. He was proud. Srila Prabhupada explains, when one is proud, arrogant, due to having a high birth, due to having a lot of wealth, a lot of beauty, a lot of strength, then one thinks that I am the enjoyer. And whatever is attractive, it should be for me. You see, when we're arrogant, we're subject to be envious. When we don't have what somebody else has. When we have false pride, we have the tendency to think, I'm better than somebody who doesn't have what I have. When we have false pride, we can become very depressed when we don't get what we think we expect. And most of all, when we're intoxicated with false pride, we come into the illusion where we justify our arrogance. I have the right to judge others. How could you criticize a person unless you feel that you're in a superior position? Amanina manadena. When great souls like Srila Prabhupada would sometimes, point out faults, it was earnestly with compassion to protect us, to purify us, like a doctor. A doctor will tell you, stay away from this, it will cause you disease. Or you have this disease, take this medicine, recognize it. But that's with compassion. But the nature of arrogance or the false ego is we think that we have that right. So Shankachuda, he saw the beauty of the gopis. And he was thinking that these women should be enjoyed only by me. Who is this Krishna and Balaram? What right did they have to enjoy these beautiful women? It is my right. So he was so arrogant. He picked up a stick and started shouting at the gopis that they should come with him. He didn't touch them. He didn't have that power, although he didn't know that. But he was driving them in the northern direction. You come with me, right in front of Krishna Balaram. Actually, we should be a little introspective too, because Krishna's in our heart. So whatever we do is right in front of Krishna too. When we're trying to steal his property, when we're trying to enjoy unethical or sinful activities, or when we're trying to, criticize or make judgment over others, we're right in the presence of Krishna too. So the Shankachuda is living within us. We have those propensities. So Shankachuda was driving the gopis, and the gopis were crying out for Krishna and Balaram to help. And he was very angry. He was a very powerful person. And the gopis cried so sincerely that Krishna and Balaram picked up logs and chased after Shankachuta. Shankachuta, when he saw Krishna and Balaram very angry coming after them, he became afraid and he ran away. And Krishna told Balaram, you take care of gopis, I will take care of Shankachuta. So leaving the gopis in the protective custody of Balaram, Krishna ran very fast. Shankachuta was very distant away. But by Krishna's transcendental powers, even though it was a long distance between them, in a second Krishna was right behind him. How did he do that? Because he's Krishna. And he took his lotus-like fist and sounded much nicer than that, actually. He hit Shankachuta, and Shankachuta was liberated. Then Krishna took that jewel from his head, and he came back, and all the gopis were watching. Krishna gave that jewel to Lord Balaram. Later, Balaram gave that jewel to Sri Radharani. According to Rupa Goswami, later that jewel became the Shamantaka jewel. But the deliverance of Shankachuta and this wonderful message for each of us was a pastime at the Ratna Singha. Close to there is Gwalpukur. And that's where the cowherd boys and Krishna, every day when they would perform their leelas around Govardhan Hill, they would have wonderful pastimes there, and they would often take prasad there in the late morning, early afternoon. And it was from there that Krishna would very quietly go to Radha Kund to meet Sri Radharani. And then we come to Manasi Ganga. We described in Vrindavan how Kamsa sent an asura named Vatsa, who assumed the form of a little calf. What is more innocent and sweet than a little baby calf? This is how Maya could work. It's a good lesson. Maya can tempt us and try to distract us away from our bhakti, even by appearing in ways that are very sweet and very innocent, with the intent to destroy us. So that was Vatsasura, such a crooked person. He was just playing with the little calves, and he was waiting for the moment where he could kill Krishna. And Krishna said to Balaram, you see that little calf? He's a demon. And Krishna just walked up behind the calf and took him by the hind legs and whirled him around and threw him to the top of a kapita tree. Does everyone know kapita tree? Kapita is a fruit. It is a favorite fruit for monkeys. Monkeys love kapita fruits. Anyways, they're really nice fruits. So Krishna threw him and he fell in the trees of the kapita. Afterward, with the Gopals, the Gopas, they were here at Giriraj, and the cowherd boy said to Krishna that you just killed a calf, so you should purify yourself by taking bath in the Ganges River. So Krishna sat down and closed his eyes. And with his mind, he meditated on Mother Ganga. And Ganga, she's coming from Krishna. She's actually a Krishna Shakti. So from Krishna's mind, from Krishna's heart, he was thinking and meditating. Mother Ganga appeared and filled up the lake Manasi Ganga, which in those days was really big. And the cowherd boys were so happy. They all went in with Krishna and they took their baths. One day, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, and the Brijbasis, they heard a story about the glories of the Ganga. How once Garuda had caught a snake. And as he was flying with this snake, the tail of the snake somehow or other touched the waters of the Ganga. And instantly, the snake manifested the liberated form of an associate of the Lord in Vaikuntha. He had a bluish complexion and 4 arms. And then Garuda, instead of having within his claws, he put that snake, who was now a liberated soul, on his back and flew to take him to Vaikuntha. So when Nanda Maharaj and the Brijbasis heard the story, they said, we also want to get liberated. Let us take a pilgrimage to the Ganga. So they were loading the carts, the ox carts, with all the necessities, because it's many days of going to where the Ganga is. And Krishna saw. He said, what are you doing? They said, we are going to get liberated by bathing in Ganga. Krishna says, Ganga's in Braj Bhumi. There's no need for you to go anywhere. Krishna was just a little child. This is when he was still herding calves. They said, what do you mean? There's no Ganga in Braj Bhumi. He said, yes, there is. They said, no, there isn't. You're just a child. What are you saying? He said, come with me. I'll show you. They said, no, we're going. Come with us. And he said, no, come. He pulled Nanda Maharaj by the hand, and ultimately they'll do anything to please Krishna. So they came to Manasi Ganga, which was Mother Ganga, who appeared from Krishna's mind. And as soon as the Brijbasis appeared, from the waters of Manasi Ganga, Ganga Devi, the goddess of the Ganga, appeared, riding on a crocodile. And right in front of everyone, she worshipped little Krishna. So they understood, Ganga has come to Vrindavan. And they all took their baths very happily. Manasi Ganga is the essence of the Ganga. It's one of the favorite. When the Ganga flows anywhere, it is supremely sacred. But when the Ganga flows in Braj Bhumi, the eternal abode of Sri Sri Radha Krishna's pastimes, it is even millions of times more sanctified. And Krishna and Sri Radha, from that day, they would perform beautiful pastimes on boats in the Manasi Ganga. Jiva Goswami describes some of these beautiful pastimes in the Gopal Champu. On the banks of Manasi Ganga, one day, the gopis were waiting for Krishna. Because Govardhan, during the springtime, is the place of Krishna's Ras Leela. And so many places in Giriraj are even revealed today where Krishna and Sri Radha would perform these pastimes of their rasa dance. So one day the gopis were sitting on the banks of Manasi Ganga waiting for Krishna in separation, and Krishna was not coming. So they were crying and crying and crying out the name Haridev, Haridev, Haridev. And as they were crying Haridev, 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 they were actually about to leave their bodies. They were in such an intense state of love and separation. And at that moment, right before their eyes, Krishna manifested the form of a deity, Haridev. And Sri Radha and gopis worshipped that deity of Krishna with great love, with flowers, with water from Manasi Ganga, and with beautiful prayers. And they would regularly come and worship that deity. And in honor of that beautiful pastime, Krishna's great-grandson, Vajranabh, installed the deity of Haridev, the presiding deity of the Govardhan area of Braj Bhumi. Vajranabh installed many deities throughout Braj Bhumi. One was Srinathji or Gopal on top of Govardhan Hill. Dauji in Gokul. Keshav in Mathura. Govinda Dev in Vrindavan. In this way, this deity was visited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's how he began his Govardhan Parikrama. According to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, he first bathed in Manasi Ganga, and then he came to the Haridev Mandir. And when he saw Haridev, he saw the beautiful form of Krishna as a 7-year-old little boy with his arm raised, holding up the Govardhan hill, his left arm, and with his right hand holding a flute. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw he was offering beautiful prayers to Govardhan Dhari. You have lifted the Govardhan hill to protect your devotees. We pray to Sri Giriraj to protect us from the anarthas within our own heart, to protect us from the influences of Maya. And by his beauty, by his sweetness, by his loving glance, to inspire us with pure, unmotivated, loving, devotional service. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this spirit, performed Nam Sankirtan. For hours and hours and hours he was dancing in ecstasy in front of Giridhari, Sri Haridev. And all the villagers from this area of Govardhan, they heard his beautiful singing, and they came before him, and they could actually witness how the same Haridev who's lifting Govardhan Hill, who's standing on the altar, is now dancing in front of himself in the form of Lord Chaitanya in a beautiful golden complexion. On the banks of Manasi Ganga, we find Chakratirtha. When Krishna lifted up the Govardhan hill for 7 days, he called his Sudarshan Chakra. And his Sudarshan Chakra was creating heat to evaporate the water that was falling from the hill so it wouldn't go under the hill to disturb the pastimes with Krishna and all of the Brijbasis. And after Krishna put Giriraj down again, effortlessly, as it was before, Sudarshan never felt such happiness as being in Krishna's Vrindavan Leela. So he requested a place to reside eternally in Braj Bhumi. And Krishna gave him this place, Chakratirtha, on the banks of Manasi Ganga and the Govardhan Parikrama. Bhadranabh, he installed Chakaleshwar Mahadev. He installed many deities of Shiva, predominantly Kameshwar Mahadev in Kamyavan, Bhuteshwar Mahadev in Mathura, Nandeshwar Mahadev in Nandagaon, Gopeshwar Mahadev in Vrindavan, and Chakaleshwar Mahadev at Govardhan. Sanatana Goswami, especially during the last part of his pastimes in this world, he was living at Chakaleshwar Mahadev. When he was in Vrindavan, he would regularly visit Gopeshwar Mahadev. Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. Lord Shiva in Vrindavan, as the greatest Vaishnav, by the grace of Lalita Saki and the love of Sri Radha's tears, he manifested his gopi form to participate in the Rasa Lila. And at Chakaleshwar Mahadev, Sanatana Goswami was so happy to be there, living at Giriraj, Govardhan. Srila Sanatana Goswami every day would circumambulate Govardhan Hill, year after year after year, without fail, daily. But he didn't do the parikrama that we do. He did the parikrama that is 24 miles, going to Chandra Sarovar, Rasastali, Kadamba, Gantuli, all these distant places. And then he would come back to Manasi Ganga, Chakratirtha, where he would perform his bhajan. And he would write his books. Sanatana Goswami was the guru of Vrindavan. He loved the Brijabasis. Sometimes he would travel from place to place in his younger days, all around Vrindavan. And when he would come to a village, the entire village, it was the highlight of their life whenever Sanatana Goswami would come. They would all greet him with so much affection. He was their guru. He was their friend. He was their servant. He was their well-wisher. He was their guide. He was everything, because he cared so much. The Bhakti Ratnakara explains when he would come to the village, he would just speak to them in such personal ways. They were Brijabasis. He would ask, how are your crops growing this year? And did you get your daughter married yet? Just simple talk, but it would capture their hearts. He took such personal, special interest in everyone's life, every aspect of their life. And how they would love to hear him speak Krishna Katha. They would feed him, they would serve him, and everyone, garlands, prasad, and Sanatana Goswami would take so little of everything. But he gave so much love to the Brijabasis. When he would leave their village, everyone, men, women, children, everyone would be weeping and crying and thanking him and begging him to return. And as he would lovingly take leave of them, he would go to the next village, and everybody was there to greet him. That was Sanatana Goswami, the guru of Vrindavan, the Sambandha guru for our whole sampradaya. The guru of Rupa Goswami? When he was becoming very old, he was still doing the very extended parikrama of Giriraj every day. And Krishna, Giridhari, it was very difficult to see how Sanatana Goswami was really struggling to do it. So Krishna appeared as a little cowherd boy, very beautiful, sweet cowherd boy, and told Sanatana Goswami that you're too old to do this parikrama every day. And Sanatana Goswami said, but it is my regulation. I have been doing it for years. I must. And the little boy was so attractive. He said that he actually climbed to the top of Govardhan Hill and brought down a Govardhan Shila. On the Govardhan Shila, it had Krishna's footprints. And it had the footprints of little cows and calves. And it had a print of Krishna's cowherd stick. And he said that this Shila is Giriraj. If you circumambulate this Shila 7 times, it is the same as doing parikrama of Govardhan Hill. And Sanatana Goswami said, whatever you say. And then the little boy disappeared. And when the little boy disappeared, Sanatana Goswami understood. Krishna revealed to him in his heart of hearts that that was Krishna. He didn't recognize him, but that was Krishna. It was Krishna's order to Sanatana Goswami to do parikrama of the Shila instead of the whole hill. This is loving reciprocation, because Sanatana Goswami cared so much for the health, for the prosperity, for every aspect of the Brijavasi's life. Krishna had that same care for him and personally came for Sanatana Goswami's comfort. There's a famous story. Sanatana Goswami at Chakaleshwar Mahadev, sometimes around the sunset time and at night, many big hungry mosquitoes would come. And he was doing his bhajan. The 6 Goswamis, they hardly slept 2 to 3 hours a night at the most. And on many times they were so immersed in hearing and chanting and writing their literatures and talking about Krishna that they just forgot about sleeping. But the mosquitoes were very much disturbing. It's not that Sanatana Goswami got odomos. No, he was so compassionate. For him, even the mosquitoes are Brijvasis. Rather than he just decided, I will leave. So he actually, that day, he decided tomorrow morning, as the mosquitoes were getting him, tomorrow morning I will leave. I cannot do my bhajan here. But Chakaleshwar Mahadev, how much he loved the association of Sanatana Goswami. So Lord Mahadev himself took the form of a Brahmin and said to Sanatana Goswami the next day, he said, where are you going? He said, I cannot stay here. Mosquitoes are too disturbing. And the Brahmin said, from this day on, there will be no more mosquitoes. Just stay. Sanatana Goswami, because he was asked by a Brahmin to stay, that was Sanatana Goswami's humility. If you are asking me to stay, I will stay. Then Lord Shiva, he's Mahadev, he's the greatest of the Devas. He went to the demigod who supervises the mosquitoes. And he ordered, none of your people should come to Chakaleshwar Mahadev, Chakratirtha. And from that day on, not a single mosquito would come. And Sanatana Goswami performed his puja there. And the other Goswamis, at Radha Kund, Raghunath Das Goswami resided. Rupa Goswami had a bhajan kutir there. Jiva Goswami had bhajan kutir. Gopal Bhatta Goswami had a home there, bhajan kutir. And whenever they would regularly come to meet with Sanatana Goswami at Chakratirtha. Very holy place. And it was there in Chakratirtha on Guru Purnima, the day of the full moon, where Vyasadev, the original guru, is worshipped, that Sanatana Goswami ended his pastimes in this world. He was just sitting totally immersed in Sri Sri Radha Govinda's, Radha Madan Mohan's eternal Leela, chanting the holy names. And when all the devotees came to meet him on Guru Purnima, the Goswamis, the Brijabasis, they saw him sitting there, and he was gone. Everyone, the whole of Braj Bhumi was weeping and weeping and weeping. Their best friend, their guru, their well-wisher, their brother, their everything had left them. And in honor of Sanatana Goswami, they performed the parikrama of Shri Giriraj. And that is why even today, over 400 years later, the Brijabasis, the main day for Govardhan Parikrama is Guru Purnima. And I remember asking Brijabasis, why on this day do so many hundreds and thousands of Brijabasis come to do Guru Parikrama? And they said, because this is the day when we honor our Guru, Sanatana Goswami. Some of these Brijabasis, they were of different sampradayas or of no sampradayas, but they all loved Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami loved them. And he loved their children, and he loved their cows, and he loved their buffaloes, and he loved the peacocks. He loved Braj Bhumi. And they carried his holy form to be put in samadhi just near the Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan. At Manasi Ganga, there is the Mukharavinda, which is, according to Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it is the mouth of Giriraj. Now, different sampradayas have different places they call the mouth of Giriraj. At Jatipur, the Pushti Marg, the followers of Sripad Vallabhacharya, they accept that stone as Mukharavinda. So we can debate which is the mouth of Giriraj. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, we worship Mukharavinda at Manasi Ganga. But Giriraj is unlimited. he could manifest his mouth anywhere he wants. So for the Pushti Marg, that is the mouth of Govardhan. And for us, this is the mouth of Govardhan. When Krishna accepted the offerings, his hands were everywhere, his mouth. Ye yatamam prapadyante. So Mukaravinda is, we will find, since centuries and centuries, the Brijbasis and the Vaishnavas, they offer milk, they offer garlands to Shri Girirajas. As we just come a little out of the village of Govardhan, I think that's where you all buy your som paparis too, right? There's a particular shop that makes them. Huh? Can you say louder? Giriraj. Okay, you all heard that. Anyways, as far as I have analyzed, that is one of the most popular holy places in all of Govardhan Parikrama. Everywhere in the world is the Shon Papari from Giriraj. But a little further down is Dangati. And this is a place where Krishna would disguise himself as a tax collector. He would put on his special clothes. And when Sri Radharani and her gopis and sakis would be coming to go to Govinda Kund, carrying butter and yogurt and ghee, Krishna with Madhu Mangal, Subal, and some of the other gopas would stop them to tax them. And there was all these beautiful little loving exchanges. And that is Dangati. And Sri Radha's footprints are there even today. And a little further down is Dana Nivartan Kund. One time when Krishna, this is described by Raghunath Das Goswami, one time when Krishna was taxing gopis, he wanted to tax Sri Radha for all the beautiful parts of her body. For her teeth, because they were so beautiful, she had to pay like hundreds and thousands of pure pearls. And for eyes,